Hi there, my name's Katie and sometimes I quilt. This week I thought we might step through some of my works in progress. Now, these are my active works in progress, which means I've actually worked on them in the last, we'll call it year, or that I have come across over the last few weeks as I've been cleaning up and rearranging and things like that, and decided I can actually just get this done and then it goes off my list and into a pile of quilts somewhere else in the house, probably downstairs. Anyhow, so I'm upstairs in my sewing space. I've got my lovely fancy design wall, which, pro tip, you can use a YouTube background frame thing. Make a double-sided quilt, make both sides of it flannel. I just use the cheapy flannel from Spotlight. I've got white on one side, I've got black on the other side, and I've hung it up and it has made it's a godsend. Also, I found one with wheels, so I can actually wheel my design wall and hide it in the spare room if I need to. So that's been really great too. So, first cab off the rank is an opalescence quilt by Lorena Eurydice, and I did this class according to the box. In 2019. I do have, sometimes I will label boxes so that I know when I started things or what's supposed to be in the box. But anyhow, so like most quilts during that stage that I started, I had designs that this would actually be big enough to go on my bed. It's still going to be big enough to go on my bed, but it's not going to cover my bed. It's just going to be there if I want it to be there. Or more than likely, it'll join the collective of quilts downstairs in the lounge space for people just to use. I really enjoy making this. I really like it. However, 2019 was a long time ago. A lot of things have happened in between here and there for me, and this quilt just got left behind. So it's time to pull it out, put it up on the wall, and see where we're up to with it. Now, at the moment, I've got ideas as to how I want it to go and finish and all of the rest of it. And what I will probably end up doing is, like, these are essentially hexagons. There are Y seams. They are a relatively easy way to do the Y seam. This one needs pressing a little bit better so that it spins, but they've been sitting in a box for a while with little circles in the middle. And these circles are 3 different sizes. I was supposed to do something like 74 of these blocks. That's not going to happen. They're going to be much smaller in number, but it's still going to be a usable size quilt and it's going to be finished, which at the moment is the main thing. Now, I started this in a workshop, and this is where I'm planning on doing a Jemima Flint workshop in a couple of weeks' time. And I recently heard it described that you're working on projects and then you put everything to one side and do a workshop, and then you go back to the things that you were doing and life gets in the way, and then you pull that box out and then you're trying to remember where you're up to. I really like Lorena's pattern in that she reminded me where I was up to really simply and really easily. I worry with more complex things that I won't remember. It doesn't put me off doing workshops. It just means that sometimes I need to take a lot more notes. Anyhow, so ideally, I'd like to get this finished before I go to my next workshop. So I've got like 2.5, 3 weeks. I actually think I can do that. One of the upsides of deciding that it's going to be smaller than I had intended is I've actually got a whole heap of blocks that I just need to sew together into their hexagons, and I've probably got enough to finish the quilt. I need to think a little bit more about how I want to finish the quilt in terms of how I want to treat the edges, because I could put coloured, like this is just a coloured diamond that would fit in with the pattern, like that, and then maybe do something similar or make it so that it's the neutrals that are all the way around the outside. I don't know. Katie in about a week's time will think about that and make a decision about that. Okay. For my next work in progress, and I've got like this one here is sitting in one of those IKEA open tub things. Now we're going to move into the ones where I'm using little clip boxes. So broadly speaking, when I have my projects, they sit in boxes like these ones. This is like a scrapbooking case for keeping scrapbooking paper. I briefly did scrapbooking. Yeah, not for me. Anyhow, I have got some blocks in here. Now, this one is a Tall Tales quilt block by Kate Blasty, and they're really cute. And I'm wondering how many of these I've actually got. More than I thought. All right, so here we go. When I was making these blocks, I wanted to make the quilt to showcase some of the really cute prints that I had collected, because I was really aware that I wasn't using them. This isn't going to stick to the wall as well because the papers are still in the back. Again, I don't quite know how big I wanted this quilt to be. I also know that I've messed up a couple of the blocks, but that doesn't matter. Now, these are scrappy backgrounds, low volume backgrounds, and all sorts of interesting prints. Again, I think I had an idea in my head as to how big I actually wanted this quilt to be. But more than anything, it was about the prints for the book covers. So this is how many I've got. Show you. There's actually 4x4. So for this to be usable, I probably need another row. It probably needs to be 5, maybe 6x5. I really like this. So in a former life, I was an English teacher. I'm now currently an academic. But this was fun. All of the different types of fabrics, all of the different bits and pieces. These blocks were a lot of fun to put together. Even though it's foundation paper piecing and I have a tenuous relationship with that. Yeah. Also putting all of the text prints in the book bit itself. Yeah. So I probably need another 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 of these. I've got some new cool prints I could put in it. Okay, next we've got one that you've seen a little bit of lately. But in the last couple of days, I have finished a little bit more of it. So let's put I've got 2 quilts that are really in the very long term, or I had a really good phrase for them lately. I'll think of it in a minute. A really long term projects, forever projects, ones that are going to take forever. And this is my Chesterker as well. One of the things that I found with having the design wall is I'm pulling things out more and I'm seeing where things are going, and I'm making better choices when it comes to my quilting anyway. And what's happening is that things are actually look like they're getting progressed, because I can put them up on the wall and I can move the blocks around and I can see where we're up to. So this one, I'd kind of like to get it finished in the next, 18 months or so. Still trying to decide what to pull out of the middle of that. I think I decided I've currently got 3 done. One of the ones I've just finished is one of these, and the dark corners. Now they will actually get moved out one and be in the very corners, because this quilt has got 2 rounds of blocks around the center. So this is where that's at. I've got 2 more that are cut out ready to go, and hopefully, just stick that down there so you can see it. Hopefully progress is being made. So this one will travel. I've got a bit of travel coming up over the next few months, so I've got sort of more blocks prepped. I'm actually contemplating sitting down and just having a day where I just prep the rest of the blocks and be done with it. So then it's just a matter of picking up the one and traveling with it. Because I've actually got some things I'd like to start, and I think I'd feel a bit better about starting some other really big projects if I finish, or at least start making progress on a couple of others. Yeah. All right. Next one. Okay, this one is in a basket. So this one I have been working on for so long. It's not my oldest work in progress, but it's my oldest active work in progress. Like, I've got other things in boxes hidden in the garage that are not, yeah, anyway, you'll understand in a minute. I have bits prepped ready to go. This one is the George III coverlet by Catherine Koenig, and it's upside down. This is the bottom center. Oh, what I might do is go over to the table. Okay, so what's hilarious about this quilt is I started it as a practice run for a Dear Jane. I should have thought a little bit more. Anyhow, So this quilt, I absolutely adore. It is completely reproduction. I am completely doing it by hand. So all of the micro piecing you could ever want. I started putting it together as a way to motivate me to finish it or to keep working on it, is probably more the point. And I kind of have and I kind of haven't. I really want to finish this, but I think this comes under the heading of we're going for progress, in much the same way that the recent guild exhibition was I'm going for participation. This one is progress. Have I contemplated starting a Dear Jane anyway? Yes. Will I? Potentially. But I really like how these little blocks go. I think I am approximately, I don't know, maybe a third of the way through. Probably a bit less than that. But I've changed, like all of the things I do, I've changed the design quite a bit. Here I am piecing that piece in. I've reconfigured some of the circles because there were a couple there that I didn't like. So I think I've replaced them, and there's going to be a little bit more symmetry. But this is, I mean, it's gorgeous. I love it. And I do wonder how it's going to get quilted. Anyhow, this is the George III coverlet by Carolyn Koenig. Well, my version of. Okay, so that's it for me this week. We'll check back in a few months and see how we go. You'll probably see progress, particularly on the opalescence, over the next few weeks. Not sure about some of the others, but we'll see how we go. Anyhow, my name's Katie, and sometimes I quilt.